My name is Anthony with HaslageNet, and I am here today with Jeffrey Dixon of Level 2 Games in Avon, Ohio. And today I'm going to interview Jeff when we get back. Okay, so hey Jeff.
Hey.
Okay, so you own Level 2 Games in Avon, Ohio, and I have two questions for you,
Cool.
and hopefully you can answer them. They're not too difficult. The first one is, what were your hobbies growing up?
So growing up, I guess the first type of thing I started to get into, besides just normal like young kid stuff, was video games and that sort of thing. And I played a little bit of video games, but particularly the game Animal Crossing had in it NESs where you could play NES games, and that was like one of my favorite parts. So my dad got me an NES off eBay. I had to change the pin connector because, as usual, wasn't working. It came with like 10 cheap junk games, mostly sports games. But I played those a lot, and then finally, years later, when I was able to start getting stuff, I started getting Super Nintendo games and then all these other old systems. So I started playing just a lot of retro games and that kind of thing. And another game that I picked up probably when I was like 10 years old was the Pokemon trading card game. Someone who lived in my neighborhood mentioned that there was a place in the mall that had a league for it where we could just go and play. And so as kids before that, we had the cards and kind of knew what to do with them, but never really was able to do anything with them. So we went up to the league and I started playing that every week up until that store closed. And once that store closed, I couldn't really play Pokemon anymore, didn't really know where to go to do it. And my older brother's friends at the time started playing the World of Warcraft TCG and Magic the Gathering. So I picked up both those games with them. World of Warcraft TCG eventually died out, but Magic is still here, and so I still play that even now. And then I also still play video games, that kind of thing as well.
Okay. So what made you decide to open a hobby shop?
So the hobby shop thing, it originally didn't have cards. I guess cards were kind of part of it. So I was thinking of different things to do. It started with something that I got into when I was around 16 was pinball and arcade stuff. Got into that extremely heavily. And there is a big gap, like if you go to a website like pinside.com that has a map of everywhere that you can play pinball machines in public. There's some stuff to the west in Lorain a little bit. There's a lot of stuff to the east in Cleveland, and you zoom out, there's just a big empty space where Avon, Westlake, North Ridgeville, all of that stuff there was absolutely nothing. And then the same thing when I was a kid buying retro video games. You could go out west, hit up Elyria, go to the Exchange, go to Buybacks, no Buybacks anymore, but then you could go east to Lakewood, Cleveland, there were places to go there. And then again, right in the middle, there was nothing in Avon, Westlake, North Ridgeville, Avon Lake, all that stuff. So I thought, as a kid, I always kind of like dreamed like, oh, it'd be cool to have a video game store, but never seemed like something I could do. Then once I got pinball, like, oh, hey, now not only does this seem like the right place for a video game store, it is also the right place for an arcade type of place. So I was able to combine those and turn them into this. And then one of the initial things when I was looking at spaces was like, well, maybe I could do card games too. But then the space I ended up getting was too small for that. But it ended up happening anyways later on. The space ended up expanding. So the card games worked themselves in one way or another. It just, when the store opened, there was no room for it. And so it was kind of off the radar.
So when did the hobby shop open?
It opened in, I guess on a day, I could, May 1st, 2016 was the day that it opened.
Now, when you opened it, that was originally just pinball, right? Or did you start Magic right away?
Arcade, pinball, and video games, yeah. It was a long time to get to that place. Like I registered the business the summer before, so the summer of 2015. And it spent a year of being registered, but just not really being open somewhere. I was just acquiring stuff and whatnot and looking for spaces. And then it finally opened in May. And then Magic started over the summer. I think in August was when I first got some boxes of Magic and Pokemon to sell.
So you just rolled right into this one, which is your initial offerings were Magic and Pokemon. So you see on your Facebook page you had an actual Magic event. When did you become official Magic store? When did that
start? So the WPN started, I think, in December. So I started having the first draft event, which was the first Magic event I ever had, was because I had friends who were still in high school, I had graduated and was doing other things, and I had friends who were younger than me, and they were in the marching band, and the marching band would play at football games on Friday nights. So they're like, hey, we can't go to FNM, and we just want to play a draft somewhere with just us. I'm like, yeah, we could do that. So we did those on Sundays with like six people. And then when I looked at what it would take to be a WPN store, I thought, okay, so I could kind of keep these small events going and kind of just start advertising them, doing stuff like that. Because I moved some things around, made space for 14 seats. I had a 6-person table, a 4-person. So I had 14 seats. So okay, that's all I need to get started. I couldn't even imagine really having more than 12 at that point in time. Yeah, so it was like made a little bit of seat space and then went off in like around December was when I finally got the application and thing going.
What trends have you seen change since opening your hobby shop?
I think in general, Magic has grown because of the fantastic sets in Dominaria and Guilds of Ravnica, but also because of Magic Arena, the fact that Wizards is finally really going aggressive at getting a position on Twitch, a position in kind of the esports arena, all that sort of stuff. They're marketing everywhere, and so a lot of new people are playing the game for the first time because they see it online. Like a lot of stuff with younger people is they're mostly playing games at home on the computer, that kind of thing. So going out somewhere and spending money on a game where you physically have to be there to play and can only play it when you have people isn't necessarily natural for someone to play a game this way. So having something that introduces people to this concept like Magic Arena, I think has been the biggest trend change recently that's grown the game in that way.
Okay, so what else brings people to your hobby shop now?
So
because you started with Magic, before they had pinball and arcade machines and retro video games. You've done more, right?
Yeah, so...
Oh, hold on. And for full disclosure, I am the event coordinator for this store, so I'm not playing stupid. I'm helping the interview along. So
yeah, so there are other things going on as well, which have grown. I don't necessarily know if the games themselves are growing, but the communities are being fostered here for things like Yu-Gi-Oh, Card Fight, Vanguard, and Pokemon. I guess a little bit less Yu-Gi-Oh than Card Fight and Pokemon because not many people are still running good Pokemon and Card Fight. Like different places have either moved around or closed or whatever, and have maybe abandoned certain games. And the people still love those games, and people still want to play those games. So I think some people have found this to be their place to come and play some of those games they like. And I think that's fantastic. The new games have come out, like Transformers, and we've had a great local community that supports that game. And something else that's kind of been growing recently is interest in Dungeons and Dragons. That's something that's kind of like every game store owner knows about Dungeons and Dragons. Everyone who plays tabletop games, people who don't play tabletop games knows Dungeons and Dragons is a thing. But it's always something really difficult to ever have at a store because the books are, you can buy them on Amazon, you can buy them at a bookstore, you can buy the books lots of places, and when you play the game, a lot of people have their group of friends that they play at home because maybe they like to do certain things, or they like to drink alcohol while they play, do all that sort of stuff that you can't do in public. So to have D&D in public is something that really takes people who know it very well and are very passionate about it, like the great DMs we have for Adventurers League, and then people who are willing to go out and meet new people instead of just play with their friends. So it's challenging to get D&D going, but that's something that's also happened recently, which has been great.
So speaking about changes into the future, what are you thinking about doing? Like, what would you like to see happen in the future for the store?
Everything that's going now really just, I guess, getting bigger, because I think we have a great range, like kind of everything on the market that we reasonably can support, we're kind of supporting right now. There are some other well-known tabletop brands like Warhammer, which we don't have, but that's just, takes up a lot of space, takes a lot of knowledge, things that we're not really capable of. So that's something that's out of the question. Like, sure, it'd be cool to support, but it's just not going to happen. And then, every major card game that, people around here really enjoy, we seem to kind of have going very well. So what would be great going into the future is just all that stuff growing more and more. Maybe different kinds of Magic would be something that's nice. Maybe a little bit of modern, older formats, the kind of stuff that's a little bit hard to go because it's so expensive. Maybe that kind of stuff growing would be cool, but it's going to take a lot of work just because those formats are really expensive. So to get a player into it takes a lot of investment.
Okay. So if you had unlimited resources, just unlimited money, access to anything you could get your hands on, what would you like to do? What would your biggest fantasy? What would be the one thing you would love to do with the store, or basically anything hobby related in general?
So as something that I would really like to have is something with a lot of pinball machines where I could do large pinball tournaments, because I am one of the co-tournament directors for Cleveland Pinball Show, which is a pro circuit event, and the Ohio Pinball Show, which is another one, very large event, some of the largest events in the world. And I love that hobby a lot, something I play in and something that I would like to do more with here. But the arcade space is a little limited, so it's something more that we just have for people to play and enjoy while they're coming here for other stuff, not something that's a main focus. So in a world where I had more space and made more money, I would have that more focused. And then another thing with unlimited money would just be have unlimited inventory of the stuff that we have, be able to have all sorts of rare games all the time, really expensive, super old Magic cards, be able to have enough Pokemon cards for people to build tier decks at any time, all that sort of stuff. But those things are variable on so many factors, like if someone's here to trade it in, that kind of thing, and the money and just what's coming in and out. So things, I guess they're kind of dreams, but they're also things that, will hopefully happen with time.
You mentioned the pinball thing. You are ranked, right?
Yeah, not so much recently, because your rank is based on your past 2 years worth of event, your best 24 events in the past 2 years. Whenever you go to a pinball tournament, it's ranked with what's called the IFPA, the International Flipper Pinball Association. And based on who's played there, so how good the competition was, how many games you played, and where you finished in the tournament, you get awarded points. And those points go on to a ticket of 24 events, your best 24 events in the past 2 years. My peak rank was like around 200, I think, top 200 in the world. Then my peak finish in the state was like 5th in the state. And I think if I was able to keep playing and playing more, I could potentially crack in the top 100 in the world and maybe one day win state championships. But I've been so busy here that playing tournaments just hasn't happened much. So my rank has kind of decayed to like 500, which I'm surprised is still even held 500, because I hardly have any events in the past 2 years now because I've been here so much. But I would definitely, if I played more, I would get myself ranked better and try and have some more impressive tournament finishes, that kind of stuff.
Of all the machines here, how many of them do you hold the highest rank?
So here I try not to put high scores on everything, because it crushes the motivation of other people to, or the great feeling they get when they get a high score. So like typically when I first get a game here and it's brand new, I'll play it, get a feel for it, have some fun, and then I'll leave it be. And the good thing is when a new game has new software, the new software resets the high score. So usually I'll have like some silly high score, and then it'll get reset, and then other people can kind of compete with each other for those leaderboards. And it's something where more of the casual players who are here playing Magic or another game can go over and play pinball and kind of compete with each other. And when they get a score on there, it really is a great feeling for them. So I don't necessarily want to just crush everyone's dreams and put obnoxious scores on the pinball machines in this store.
Okay, so you do sell retro games. So for anybody who doesn't know, retro as in specifically last gen and older, going back to Atari and ColecoVision specifically. So is there any specific, what is your favorite gaming system, console, handheld?
So I think I have a favorite era, which is the early 3D era. So N64, Sega Saturn, and the Dreamcast. Notably not the PlayStation. I guess I didn't really grow up with the PS1. There's not many games I end up loving for it, which is strange because it's got so many games. I guess I'll have to start playing it at some point. And I love the PlayStation 3 forward as well, and the PSP and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that I don't love PlayStation, but it's that I really love those other 3 systems, N64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. I guess GameCube as well. There's games that I love, things that I love to play in them. It's really early design space for 3D games, so a lot of creativity, just cool things. Over the past summer here, I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 like every day, way too much, because people will be playing Commander up until like 2 a.m. and well, what else am I going to do? Play some Tony Hawk. So those types of games, really like unique 3D games that were very novel at the time. I personally think they hold up really well to me, and I love playing them.
Okay. So where is your hobby shop located, and how can people find it on the internet?
So we are at 37309 Detroit Road in Avon, Ohio. If you're driving through Avon, it's you're probably going down like 83 or something like that. You take an exit at Colorado 611, whatever the sign might call it, and you go straight down there till you hit Detroit. We're like almost right there, we're like right by the intersection of Detroit and 611.
French Creek in Detroit intercept,
Yep.
So that's exactly where it's at.
Yep, the exact intersection is French
Yeah.
Creek in Detroit. Yeah, so people coming from Sheffield or Lorraine will typically take that French Creek route. But online, we're at level2games.com, on Facebook, Level2Games, and I have some accounts for Level2Games and other social media, but they're not nearly as well kept up as Facebook, and then the website is quite well kept these days.
Yeah. And on the website you can find inventory, which inventory for the cards and the general inventory for the store is kept up on average every 3 days. Pricing for card singles is updated as you come into the store, because there's thousands of cards on there, and it's this guy here who manually has to update those things, and I'm not going to go through thousands of cards.
And
that is just too much work.
There are thousands more cards that I'm never even going to ask him to try and put
bulk.
Yeah, there's we call it bulk, but not even all the bulk is even bulk. So there's some stuff like, if you don't see something on the website, don't sweat it. Send a message, give a call, something like that, and we can potentially find it for you. Yeah, it's the website doesn't mean everything, but definitely the website is a great place to browse if you just want to get an idea, or you want to see if you can build a certain deck, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so since you did mention that, because I would typically ask if there's anything else you want to mention, but I think we pretty much covered it, right? What do you play? I mean, you play Magic mostly now. Obviously, you started with Pokemon, now you're at Magic. Where are you at, like, in Magic? Are you, because you're not really big into Commander, you're more of a standard guy, right?
Yeah, so my main format of choice is Legacy. I think Legacy is super fun. It has the card pool of all of Magic. It's really diverse. You get to play the 60-card head-to-head thing where you really get to get reads on your opponent, all that kind of stuff, some of the deeper mental games. And so I have a lot of fun doing that. And then I'll play Standard and some of those other tournament formats as well. I'll play Commander because I have a lot of friends who play Commander. People here play a lot of Commander. I guess like things that I would like to mention about this store is that people love Commander. People will stay up all night here playing Commander, and it's a great time. If that's something like, if you're the kind of person who likes to play, casual for fun Magic, this is like a place you should check out, because we have a community that would love to see you here. And yeah, so me, I have friends here that play Commander, and so sometimes I'll play with them. If I'm playing on my own, I'll typically play Legacy or maybe some Standard, that kind of thing.
And I should mention, there is a Discord. If you join the Discord and you just want to play some casual Commander or Pokemon or whatever, you just, hey, hit up the guys, and they will say, hey, I can be there at whatever time, and they will meet you here, and you can actually play.
Yeah, the Discord has really been fantastic for us connecting to players and players connecting to players, which is so fantastic. It's like a heartwarming feeling when you see players organize times to play with each other without us having to schedule an event or do anything at all. Just players come up because they want to play with each other, and they have a great time doing it.
Because there is something scheduled every day of the week. Magic takes up 4 of the 7 days. The other 3 days is Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Card Fight, and Transformers. But not every event takes up every space in the store, and we almost never have to turn anybody away as far as seating is concerned. And we'll never turn anybody away if they want to buy something. It's just sometimes there's no seats. I mean, it rarely happens.
Yeah, the only time where there's really ever been no seats is like during a Magic pre-release or during like a Pokemon League Cup. Just like those biggest events are the only times. But if there's somewhere where you can sit and play, you don't even necessarily have to be spending money, like as long as you're here just to play games and you don't cause any like major disruptions or anything like that, don't even sweat the money. Like this is a place for you to play at and enjoy, and it's a place to bring people together to play different games and all that stuff. Like when people come up 5 days a week to play Commander, they're not spending money 5 days a week. I don't expect them to spend money 5 days a week. That'd be crazy. I want people to come up and have fun primarily, and then if you ever are looking for something, well, yeah, it's, I guess, a good place to get it as well. But we don't expect you to always be looking for new things to buy or buying things, like crazy. Just play here. It's fun.
And plus, drinks, snacks. Sometimes we run out of them, but they're here on occasion. Accessories. So you can eat dice sleeves, deck boxes, etc., etc. That's
everything you'd really expect out of somewhere where you can play games. Everything you'd really need, I guess. We don't have hot food, but not many game
that
stores
requires
do.
the health department getting involved.
That's the only thing that it would be cool if we had, but we can't.
Yeah.
But that's still like there's a Taco Bell down the road that people love to go to.
Speaking
McDonald's
of,
down the road.
Burger King, Taco Bell, Panda Express, yes, McDonald's, Pizza Hut. You go one way or the other, and there are restaurants everywhere.
So it's really like when people are here and they do have somewhere, looking to go somewhere to eat, it's not really a problem. And often we'll even have people who will offer to bring stuff back for other people as well. So like if there's a lot of people hanging out and one person's going to go pick up food, they might just swing some food for other people so they can stay and play and still get to eat.
Pizza places deliver here, Grubhub.
Yep. Yeah, and there's delivery, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's Jimmy John's right down the road that delivers
Master's
fast.
Pizza, Domino's, I think Papa John's.
Yeah, Papa John's. There's a lot of local Avon pizza places.
Well, thank you for your time. And don't forget Level 2 Games in Avon, Ohio. And thanks for watching. Thank you for checking out our content. Before you leave, please remember to click like and then subscribe. If you want to receive notifications, do not forget to enable them by clicking on the bell. Then afterwards, check out our social media at HaslageNet and our website at haslage.net.